Hello, welcome in everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today. We'd love to know where you're tuning in from using the chat. How long have you been practicing massage therapy or body work? Connecticut, welcome. Awesome. Nice to meet you. Kind of get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Massage Magazine Insurance Plus webinar series in session. You might also recognize us as Massage Magazine or MIP for short. I'm Shannon, and I'm excited to be your co-host today. If you're new to MIP, we're an all-inclusive liability insurance provider for massage therapists, bodywork professionals, Reiki practitioners, and much more across the U.S. Our mission is to support you with quality coverage that gives you peace of mind in your practice. But we don't stop at insurance. We also offer a wide range of exclusive member benefits, including discounts on industry products, up to 50 free CE hours with our partner Neil Asher, other amazing continuing education opportunities, and a wide range of valuable resources tailored with the massage and bodywork community in mind. To learn more, I will drop our website link in the chat for easy access. Just some quick housekeeping tips. Today's webinar will run for 1 hour and it is being recorded. The recording will be emailed to everyone by tomorrow. We encourage you to ask questions, so feel free to use the chat or question feature, and we'll be monitoring both throughout. We'll also reserve the last 10 minutes for a quick Q&A session. With that said, let's dive in. The topic of today's webinar is how to transition from employee to massage business owner. Please join me in welcoming our host, Irene Diamond, renowned expert, advisor, and true source of inspiration in the wellness and therapy space. With over 30 years of experience, Irene is known for her unconventional, results-driven approach that helps clinic owners maximize revenue, delight their clients, and avoid burnout. She's a true solutionist, dedicated to improving both physical and facial wellness. Irene's career began with leading fitness programs on international cruise ships, and she went on to found San Francisco's very first pain relief and wellness center. She's also the creator of the Diamond Method, active modulation therapy, and Diamond Active Massage, and is widely recognized for her innovative We Give Back marketing approach that attracts ideal clients and builds thriving practices. We're thrilled to have her here today to share her insights and expertise. Welcome, Irene, and thank you so much for tuning into MIP's In Session webinar series.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me here, Shannon. I'm excited to really dive right in. I've got a lot to pack in. We're going to go fast. You can always go back to the replay and pick up the golden nuggets here. So thank you. And for those of you who are new to me, welcome to my world. For those of you, I see some of you in the chat, your names and things. So it's exciting to see people who I've been working with over the years and from people from a long time ago. So it's really fun. I am going to jump into my slides. So I'm going to share screen right now and away we go. So transitioning from an employee to a massage business owner. You ready? Hang on to your hats. So this training could be the turning point in your career. It really can. I want you to, even though it's free, we're providing this as a service, goodwill gesture for those of you who are a part of our world. But I don't want you to take it lightly. This information literally has turned people's careers from being an employee to going out and thriving, enjoying the life that they really want to enjoy. And so sit tight and away we go. So you are here because you're either thinking about it or you've already decided it's time. You're ready. So whatever brought you here, let's figure out if you're ready to work for yourself. Now, we all love massage, of course we do. But being a massage therapist, working for others has its challenges. Now, like I said, we're going to be doing some brainstorming here. So do you agree that it has some challenges? What are the big things, and we're going to use the chat, what are the big things that you dislike about being an employee? Don't mention names, don't mention people, don't mention organizations, but what are the aspects? What are the things that are not working for you now? Maybe when you first started, it was great because you got a lot of experience, you got to meet a lot of people, you got to work with a lot of clients. What are the things that, let me just see if I can get my chat going. What are the things that you dislike about being an employee in the massage industry? So working on a tight schedule, the hours they make you work, not setting your own hours, being not your time not being your own, feeling like a big fish in a small pond. Oh, these are going fast. That's great. Not doing the services you want to do, limiting pay, them telling you what needs to be done. Are these starting to sound familiar? Not being able to take a break when it's needed, enough time with clients and not your ideal clients. Not building up. Promises made and not kept. So these are all things that are challenges for you as an employee, right? These are things because you're not the boss. It's not your show. So we are working for another business. We are under their direction. We use their tools of the trade. These are all things that the IRS looks at when they determine who's an employee and who's not. So again, you're going into another business and you're following their rules. You're following their direction. You're working like you said, the hours that they're making you work, the clients that you may not choose if you were on your own, doing services that you may not like to do, not being able to take breaks, not being able to take care of yourself. If you're feeling tired, you need to either show up or call in sick. Same thing when we're working for ourselves, but it's a little different, right? So these are things that are so common. And we're going to talk about why now it might be a good chance for you to make a change. So just like you said, long hours, physically hard on your body, schedules you don't like, low wages, lots of competition, missing time and events with family or friends. So when it's Memorial Day's coming up, right? Holidays, you have to work sometimes on holidays and times when your kid might be in Little League and somebody's got a birthday party, but you're working. So these are challenges that make absolute sense. And when you're working for yourself, obviously, you get to call the shots. So would you like to explore a new massage adventure, one that's physically easier on your body? Why? Because you're calling the shots. You're deciding what type of work you want to do, how you want to do it, how many clients in a day, in a week, in a month. When you work for yourself, you can set yourself apart so clients come searching for you. You get to position yourself so clients see you as the expert you are and are happy to pay more. This will give you scheduling freedom and provide autonomy so you can win big. So how do you know? This is a really tricky piece. How do you know if you're ready to become an entrepreneur? Some of you know, some of you just know this is it. This is for you. You've had other businesses before. Maybe you've worked in other industries. Maybe you're already working for yourself and you know that you like it. Entrepreneur, I call you all therapreneurs because we're therapists and we're entrepreneurs together. But first, why are you even listening to me? Let's chat real quick about who I am. I am the creator, the founder of this blurry picture here, San Francisco's very first wellness center. Diamond Pain Relief and Wellness is the name that it is called now. But if you look at the big sign there, which is still up 26 years later, Diamond Massage and Wellness. So we started with that name, Massage and Wellness, because why? When I started, people didn't even know the word wellness. So like I said, we were the first wellness center. People said, what is that? I said, well, with massage and things. So then I had to use the word massage in our name so people knew what the heck we were. And we transitioned from massage to pain relief because now we do a variety. Well, we always did a variety of modalities. And here's a little tip when you're naming your business. if you put massage there, yes, people recognize it. However, it may limit what you do, because we do exercise and fitness and ergonomics, and I do corporate training and things like that. So active modulation therapy. So it's not only massage. So just be aware of that name. Also, what I found out, massage is a modality, wellness is a movement, is a philosophy. So we were combining two odd things. So now we do pain relief and wellness. Those are the same two approaches that we use. So that's where I started when I started my practice. And since then, I've created over the last 30 years active modulation therapy, which is a rehabilitation approach, including manual and movement. So the client is doing self-care exercises at home, a home care program, as well as movements and exercises to strengthen, stabilize, work on balance, biomechanics, all of that. And Diamond Active Massage is more of the spa version, so not rehabilitative focused, but pain and stress and improving mobility, Diamond Active Massage. And those two are the clinical piece. Down at the bottom, precise activation coaching. So I do work with clinics and practice owners. Ethical fee increase program we run every month. It's fabulous if you're looking to raise your fees. Give to get gold, we give back marketing. That is the only marketing you'll ever really ever really need. And it's one practice per city. So it is geographically limited, because that way it doesn't get oversaturated. And then you see on the right, I've got my book, my Design Your Dream Practice, that bestseller last year, which I'm really proud of. And in April of 2020, I was on the cover of Massage Magazine. So hopefully what I have to share today with you is going to be really able to knock your socks off. If you stay to the very end, I will share with you a way to access a free class, how to attract affluent, appreciative clients. All right. So not everybody is cut out to run your own practice. You know that. What are your fears? Let's use the chat again. I thought we were going to use cameras, but put in the chat, please. What are your fears? What are you afraid of if you're thinking about, is this the right next step for you? Let's chat about that, because fears are scary. When I first opened that wellness center, I signed a 5-year lease. That meant if it didn't work, I was still on the hook for rent. Physical burnout, if you chose the right location, financial responsibility, failing huge, not having enough clients. What else? Am I doing enough to attract clients? Lack of income. Financing. Well, in my 2 cents, you can start without financing. You don't need that. Making money, physical exhaustion, being injured, then what? That's what insurance is for. Being injured. If you're the sole fulfillment practitioner, it is definitely a real thing. Going it alone. Yes, those are some things that are really valid concerns. Like I said, when I started the practice, I started out of my home and my apartment, really. Three-story walk up in San Francisco. I started seeing clients there because I was doing massage, not as a practice in and of itself. I became a massage therapist because I wanted to make a whole lot of money in a short amount of time to fund an international travel company that that was my main business. I moved to San Francisco from Honolulu because the cruise lines were based out of San Francisco, Miami, and LA. I didn't want to live in Miami, didn't want to live in LA, had a sister in San Francisco and an old boyfriend. I was like, I love that city, let's move there. So I moved to San Francisco to start CFIT Tours, which was, again, at the time, 30 plus years ago, the only fitness cruise company in the world. Well, I had no funding. I didn't have financing. This is before GoFundMe accounts and all that stuff. So I had to figure out how I was going to make a lot of money without burning out, because I needed the time to be able to invest in the travel business. And then a friend I used to just massage unofficially. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had a degree in rehab therapy from college, a 4-year bachelor's. And so I would unofficially massage people. And this old boyfriend, Bill, said, Irene, go to massage school, learn what to do with your hands so you can charge $50 an hour, see 1 or 2 clients a day, and make enough money that you can spend your time doing the travel business. Well, that was the best advice anybody could have given me, because it allowed me to make, to charge $50 at the time for an hour, whereas normally at the time it would have been what, $10 an hour. So I got to condense time and make good money. However, I knew that when I was out on the cruise ships, my clients were not happy. So I had to start having therapists see my clients as I was traveling. And then I'd come back and I'd pick up the practice. And that's how I went for a few years. As my practice grew, I needed more therapists to come on to see my overflow and see clients when I was out on the ships. So I went to Diamond Pain Relief and Wellness, and I looked for a location. In San Francisco, as you probably can imagine, is quite expensive for the rent. And you saw, or maybe you didn't notice, but I'm on the 2nd floor. So for those of you who are looking for locations, I'm on the 2nd floor. That means people have to walk up the stairs. There's no elevator. So yes, ground floor is optimal, but there's a premium for that rent. So I didn't have the funds to be able to afford a ground floor in San Francisco, a storefront. So I went into this location knowing that some people would not be able to come see me. Anybody who can't walk up a flight of stairs, which is one of the requirements they have, we ask that question, can you walk a flight of stairs? If they say yes, great. Now, when we first started, we actually got a letter from an attorney saying that we were not accessible. We were not handicap accessible. Okay, great. I passed that letter over to the landlord. Luckily, they took care of it, because it turned out it was somebody who was just going around with new businesses and looking for easy money to sue the business owner. So again, right off the bat, I get a letter. I'm like, dang, what did I sign up for? But 5 years. Was I scared? Of course I was scared. Because what if it didn't work? All the same things you're saying. What if it didn't work? What if I get injured? It has 3 treatment rooms plus an exercise room. It's a big space. It's a lot of overhead, not only the rent, insurance, utilities. I had a front desk person. This was a huge undertaking. But as we go along, you'll see, how did I make that decision? These are the same things I want you to be thinking. How do you make the decision of where you should open and how big a space to open? Annie says, I've heard of that guy. Yeah, they go around, they go around and they just look at businesses that are not compliant and throw out a lawsuit. When you're an employee, you don't have to deal with any of that. So again, are you cut out for these types of challenges? Right? All right, let me go back to my slide. So it's scary. So what could happen? Pop in the chat, what could happen? Let's say you find a space and you sign a lease. 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. And what's the advantage of a longer lease? The longer lease is you have more control. They can't boot you out unless you're breaking the contract. You know what your rent's going to be, because in the lease it says it'll go up X or Y. My lease stipulated that it will go up at the cost of the CPI, Consumer Price Index. It'll continue at that rate. So in other words, my rent, I knew what was going to it was going to be every year. I knew that I had 5 years, meaning she could not decide that I couldn't be there. So when you sign a lease, if you sign 1 year or month to month, you have less control. So that's a decision that needs to be determined. So again, what could happen if you sign a lease? My room not being big enough. I'm also on this. Oh, you're already on. When I first rented a space outside of my house, I was in a tiny room. I used it. Oh, you guys would have seen this, it would have been crazy. It was a tiny bedroom because it was in a house, like my office is a house. I rented from a chiropractor. I had my treatment table. I had an armoire to put my linens and supplies. I had a computer desk and a computer. And this is when these computers, Apple computers, were those big bubble computers that, were like 3 feet by 3 feet. It was so cramped in there. I could use the wall for leverage, though. That was pretty cool. That's what Tom says. What else? Type into the chat. What could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Noisy neighbors, nail salons with smells, traffic, construction noise, parking issues. All right, noisy neighbors, you can't do anything about. Nail salons with smells, I had that in my contract because I am on the second floor. The downstairs was open. I literally said they cannot rent to a business that has smells, because exactly that, nail salons, or I thought like a motorcycle repair plot place where they're revving the motor, like it was ridiculous. I said, none of that. Cannot be downstairs. So you put that in your contract. Can't do much about the noisy neighbors. When I rented a space, they put in a generator. Couldn't do anything about that. So there are challenges. A fear of getting sued. Yes, that's what insurance is for. Liability, professional liability insurance, as well as your health insurance. Make sure you have those covered. Personal injury, same thing. You can have personal injury insurance, and it's a smart idea. The famous pianists, right, who insure their hands, things like that. This is your livelihood, so all of those risks need to be taken into consideration. Suzanne says not enough clients. Not enough clients is easily fixed because it all comes down to marketing and being excellent. Not enough clients often happens when therapists are mediocre practitioners. And I don't mean just your skills in the clinic, I mean your overall skills. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Tom says, getting the right business and well, hello, hello, we're on that. Annie says, not pricing appropriately. Pricing is a big piece. Your fees we'll talk about in a moment, but thank you for sharing all of those. So what could happen? What is the worst that could happen? So real quick, this isn't, as you can already tell, start a business, get a business license, choose a name, blah, 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 blah. No. Let's jump into why you want to start your own practice. Why now? Type in the chat, why do you want to start your own practice and why now? Some of you want to start your own practice like I did because you wanted to run the show, you knew you were capable, and you wanted to make a lot of money. Tom says freedom. Margaret says more freedom. Yep. Be your own boss, flexibility. Your body's getting old. I've been it too long. I want to do what I know and I'm good at. Absolutely. When do you know you're skilled? When you know clients love you? When you know you're capable? When you know you can handle being sued or the people putting in a generator that makes noise and all of the stuff that goes into adulting and being a business owner, you want your own autonomy. And that's where this comes in. You reap the greatest rewards and you have the greatest challenges. I'm a control freak. Nothing wrong with that. Jacob, I could never work for somebody else right now. And there's no reason to kid, just kidding. Here's one of the questions I ask when a new therapist comes to me and wants to work at my business. I literally say to them, are you a good therapist? Are you a skilled therapist? Here's the truth. The ones that are like, well, I think I am. Well, my clients tell me I am. I'm like, I want confidence. I want certainty. I want conviction because you're capable. We don't want to work with a knee surgeon who's going, well, I think I'm going to be able to do your knee surgery. We want someone who wants to take control. We want that certainty in our own healthcare as clients. Our clients want that same thing from us. So set and keep standards. Thank you, Annie. Great. Why do you want to start your own practice and why now? Is there something that changed in your life? Is there a time element that makes it so this is an important moment. Again, for me, I wanted, because I was starting this other travel business. So the time was now. What about for you? Are you transitioning? Like you said, your body's getting a little bit older. What are the reasons? Now, there is a concept again of find your why. When we have a bigger why than just, oh, I want to make a lot of money, or oh, I'm tired of working for other people. When we know there's a bigger reason, when we have a bigger reason, those are the people who will really succeed, because when they're tired, they get out of bed. When they don't feel like it, they do it. When they're having a bad day or something bad happened or they're under stress or there's a tragedy or trauma, they still go for it. The show must go on. That's what it is. So we can't be sort of, lackadaisical about it. When you have a bigger vision, a bigger reason why, maybe you want to make money so you can donate services. Every business, I believe, should have a philanthropic arm. You should have a way, once you get settled, to figure out how to give back to your community. Right now, I have one client. At all times, I choose one person for whatever reason I choose to support. I either give them free services or dramatically reduce service fees. That's my giving back. We also, every single month, donate as a wellness center, over $2,500 worth of services to different people in the community. That's part of our We Give Back program. Again, once you get settled in your new practice, I encourage you all to do that. It's a way of giving to the community. It's a bigger reason for being in business. It helps your business stand out from everybody else. And it's a bigger why. So you have to make money. A business is in business to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a hobby. So you have to make money. So not only are you living the life you want, able to pay your bills easily, but you have enough to be able to give back. So if that is really hitting something in you, then you're going to love this. Jacob, the reason why moving to Europe in 2 years makes it easier transition. That's right. Easier to move when you work for yourself. Maricela says her family and kids are going to school. Got it. Yes. So now you've got the time. You're getting too old to tolerate younger ideas, Margaret says. Perfect. Perfect. And Brenda Lee says, where to go? I'm working part-time for a hotel. I want to work smarter, not harder. Retiring in 5 years. I want to be able to get this running and get the income going without being tired all the time. Absolutely. And Suzanne is transitioning from accounting. So great. You've got the money piece hopefully wrapped up. All right. So if you're not clear on this, dig deeper, take some time, do some homework. It's a big step. Like I said, this could be the turning point in your career. All right. But if you know it's time, let's do it. So inner work, identity shift. You have to recognize you are going from a practitioner to a practice owner. Totally different. You're going from a service provider, right? You're doing the fulfillment of the service when you are an employee for somebody else. Now, your marketing, your sales, your fulfillment, your administration, and your maintenance. Maintenance of everything. I was up on a 6-foot ladder the other day, changing a light bulb on our 15-foot ceilings with a fixture that hadn't been opened for like 50 years. That's part of the maintenance, but also the maintenance, making sure the garbage is taken out when it needs to be taken out, doing the cleaning. If you do the cleaning, we hire a team to come and clean. I have somebody who washes our linens and things. But you have to oversee it all. These are the aspects, these 5 aspects: marketing, sales, fulfillment, administration, and maintenance. If you can handle them all at the beginning, solo provider, solo practice owner, do it. And as soon as you can afford to hire people, hire people. But these are the areas that you either need to develop your own skills or bring in other people. They don't have to be employees. Fulfillment has to be employees. But marketing, sales, administration, maintenance, all of that, you can bring in other people. First thing that I want to encourage you to bring in is somebody at your front desk, somebody answering the phones. Why? Because it's a human to human business. When you are in the treatment room working with a client, when you have somebody who's sitting at the front desk saying hello, meeting and greeting, of course you can do it yourself. And I do it myself even to this day sometimes if you know Zoe's out of the office or we don't have it staffed. But to have that separation of boundaries is really powerful. And when you're in the treatment room, if your phone's not being picked up, you're losing business. And I know that's all about automation now. And yes, you can have answering services, and yes, you can have online booking. And that's a much bigger conversation than we have time to talk about now. However, recognize, please, as a business owner, these are the 5 areas that you need to become competent in or hire for help. So ABCs of the business, I have a lot of triangles in my business coaching. You have to be proficient in all 3 of these to have your dream practice. You have to have the ability to do it all or hire. You have to have business knowledge, and you have to be able to be consistent and communicate. And any of these you can take screenshots, of course. We've got 3 partners. Who are the 3 partners? If it's just you, yourself, and I, those are the 3 partners. And then all of you have to have the same vision. Some of you are very creative and you want to do the graphics and the logos and the pictures, and you want to set up your office and have it be beautiful. Amazing. Others of you are the bookkeepers, the accountants, the people who are more analytical and are going to be able to create your systems and your processes and your policies and all of that. Amazing. And then you have the engineer, the people, pardon me, the people who have to make sure everything's organized, make sure the doors are unlocked on time, all of that. And this is all what comes together when you're your own business. All right, so taking the risk, but being smart. Keep income from current job. If you have a job right now and you're employed, are you going to start your practice on the side while you're keeping your full-time job? Are you going to go down to part-time or adjust your hours a little bit? I recommend that you don't quit and jump totally unless you've got a list of clients already signed up and you know that you've got money in the bank. So let's be smart about this. So what we're going to do is define what you want. First, define it. Many of us jump into a business without really thinking about it all the way, but I'd like you to take some time, do your homework, and define what exactly do you want. You're going to design it. You're going to design it to be what you want, and then we're going to tweak as we go. This is an ongoing process. It's never one and done. I'm continuously designing and tweaking. To this day, 30 plus years in practice. And deliver. Again, delivering it to appreciative clients so you can live your dream. You have to be excellent in your ability to speak with clients, to assess and analyze and evaluate what their goals are, and then deliver that. That's how you have a sustainable business with clients who rave about you. If you're unable to deliver, then that's where you may need to take more clinical classes. I hope this is making sense. So here's my son, Jacob. He surfs. This is a small wave for him. Like I said, I grew up in Hawaii. I used to be a surfer. My waves were 2 to 3 feet. His are like 10 to 20 feet. It comes with challenges and rewards. You have to trust yourself. And here's the thing, literally running your own business is like being a surfer. I love this analogy. Again, growing up in Hawaii, I want you to think about yourself as a surfer. Now imagine, what do? A lot of people say, well, there's too much unknown. There's too much, it's too rough to be your own business. Well, when you're a surfer, you're looking for waves. You're looking for the challenges. You're looking for some fun and adventure. You don't want to sit on your board out there on a glassy ocean. If any of you are in the water, you know what I'm talking about. So it's a different mindset. We're not looking for calm and peace, although of course that's nice. However, we thrive on the challenges. We thrive on the rides. We thrive on the fast speeds. And when you are taking the challenges because you trust yourself, right? If it is slow, who's at fault? If you're not making enough money, who's at fault? But you have the ability to learn how to do all this stuff. Yes, with some falls. Yes, you're going to wipe out. Yes, you're going to get water up your nose. Yes, you're going to get tumbled around. But that's okay because we're going into it with our eyes wide open. My mom was a child psychologist. This last sentence, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? I want you to ask yourself that if you're making this decision. Any decision that you're making in your business, once you've decided to run your own practice, will always come down to what's the worst that can happen, as well as what's the best that could happen, because it's the fear that keeps us stuck. We create the vision, we design our dream practice, and then the other side of us is going, yeah, but what happens if? Okay, what happens if? When I signed my 5-year lease, and I had no therapist to work with me, I had no, I'd never done this before. What's the worst can happen? I'm stuck with a 5-year lease. I have to pay that money. Okay, but I'm not going to die. So, okay, it's terrible. I'll waste a lot of money. I'll be embarrassed. I'll have to walk by that, business or whatever and come in every day and think, oh my gosh, I'm losing money. But that was a risk I was willing to take because of the upside, because I trusted myself. And that's the same I'm asking of you. Type in the chat. Give me a yes if this is making sense and resonating with you, or a no if it's not. I really want to make sure I'm delivering what you need. Margaret, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, perfect. Good. Excited. All right, I understand well. Thank you. Perfect. I love that. Okay, I am really a open book. I will tell you the good stuff. I'll tell you the bad stuff. I'll tell you the challenges. I'll tell you the wins. Trust yourself. Surf through it. Take those challenges. Look for the big waves. That's where the big wins are. So here's what I've learned over the years. When I first started, I was open to the public. I came up with these names. Open to the public. Here's what I thought. The more clients, the more money. The more volume, the more money. At the time, I was doing 1-hour massages, maybe 30-minute massages. I wasn't really a fan of 90 minutes because I got bored. But I, of course, was trying to pack my schedule. So 8 hours in a day was great. I loved it. 8 hours in a day. I was making money. And I was making money. Back then, I was making like $8,000, $10,000 a month. Back then. That's like a lot of money. But I was tired. I was exhausted. But it was a volume business, a volume play. Then I had other therapists. So we had 3 treatment rooms. So the goal was pack as many appointments in each of these treatment rooms as possible, right? So our goal was at least 6 hours per room, if not more. And we started just a few days a week. I had Mike, who is one of my therapists. Shout out to Mike if you're on here. He's now practicing in Maui. He was one of my first therapists, my second hire. And he said, hey, Irene, I'll work on the weekends if you want to be open. I was like, but I don't want to be at the front desk. No, I'll do it. So he started it on the weekend. So every single day, 7 days a week, we were open. We were seeing clients. We were packed. How many can we get in? We were offering discounts to get more clients. We had new client specials, all of this stuff. And it was powerful and it was great. And it was a lot. And that's open to the public. If you're a newer therapist, that's what I encourage you to do. Just get a feel for it. But if you've been in practice for a long time, at least a year or two, and you feel competent in your skills, you're competent in what kind of clients you want to work with, what conditions and treatments and things like that you want to do, Go for precise private practice. You can use that word. You can say you're a precise private practice. You position yourself as a precise private practice. That means you choose the precise clients you want. You offer only the precise services you want. You charge the precise fees. They're in your show. It's your show. You're running it. That's what a precise private practice is. And that's what I encourage you to do if you're a competent, experienced provider. My son is going surfing. How do you choose your clients? We're jumping right into the nitty gritty. I'm going to start speaking a little bit faster so we pack more in. When you have a new person reach out to you, this is the filter you put them through. Do you like them? Do you like them? Like, are they a nice person? We have people who call and sometimes they're just really snotty. They're not a precise private practice client. We don't want them. We don't have to accept them. That's the difference, right? When you were working as an employee, you had to work with people even if you didn't jive with them. So do you like them? Do you want to spend time with them? That's a filter. If the answer is yes, great. Can they afford your services? Now, you don't know how much money they make. You don't know what they have in the bank. Of course you don't. But if they're coming in straight off the bat, wanting to nickel and dime you or look for bargains or what kind of package do you have, they may not be a precise private practice client for you. And then the corner on the left, can you help them relieve their concern or achieve their outcome? So, sorry, switch back. One thing I think is so important is that you only accept clients. Hear this, only accept clients you know for sure you can support. That takes pre-booking questions. That takes client screening. If you have a client on your calendar and you don't even know why they're coming in, what they hope to achieve or relieve, I think you're doing them a disservice. I don't like the online bookings for that very reason, unless you have a screening questionnaire and things like that. But if they just book and you go, okay, I've got an hour at 3 o'clock for deep tissue, well, great, but what's the goal? And in some of my sales trainings, you'll hear me asking these questions. They'll tell me all their stuff, but I have to keep coming back to what's the goal? So you have to have these 3 things that you can say yes, yes, and yes. That way, you know they're a dream client for you. When you're in practice for yourself, you get to decide your time. I call it the time triangle. So first things first, look at your calendar, block off the times that you want to go to the gym. Block off the times, I like to sleep late. I woke up early for this. I don't take clients until 12 o'clock. Why? Because that's my time. I like that. I'll go later, but I am not an early bird. And so therefore, my practice, my rules, right? So block off the times. You want holidays, you block off those holidays. Your kid has, sports at 3 o'clock on Thursdays, block that off. That way you are in control. And those are your me time. Now, the difference between on and in, when you're working on your business, when you're working on your bookkeeping, when you're working on your marketing, when you're working on your computer, that's the business administration and the maintenance and all of that. That's important time that has to be scheduled in. And working in is when you're in the treatment room, in with a client, in the therapy room, in with a client. So those 3 areas of your calendar should be blocked off. Let's say you want to work 5 hours of client clinical hours a day, but only 3 days a week. I take appointments Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's when I see clients, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Why? Because I'm working on my business and doing the coaching and the administration and everything else on the other days. So you block off the time in your calendar when you set business hours. One of the mistakes I made when I first started was I was open. I was working all the time. And that's true at the beginning. Yes, you can open your hours, but you have business hours. So let's say you start at 12 o'clock and you finish at 8 and a client wants to see you at 10 a.m. You can totally take them at 10 a.m. Totally. And you say, I take appointments starting at 12. However, I'm happy to see you at 10 a.m. before my usual hours. So you just help them. You're now they're looking at you going, wow, she's so amazing. He's so amazing. He was able to get me in before he opens. So now you're the good guy, but you set your hours so they know what your hours are. You have to be clear on your boundaries. Suzanne says, what about 10 to 15 minutes? I'm not sure if that's a question or not. How do you, there you go. Okay. Fees, we're going to talk about fees a few times, but define your fees and type of practice. So I have this continuum that I've developed as far as the types of businesses. When we started, we were a mainstream business with a lean towards the bargain because I thought the way we could get more clients was by offering bargains. We even had a sign that said, a banner hanging out of the front that said something like $10 off new clients. Well, I realized that that was attracting bargain seekers. Everybody wants a good value, but we don't necessarily need to be perceived as a bargain. So Amazon, Walmart, those are bargain stores. There's a place for them. They're perfect. People love them. And it works for practice owners as well. Mainstream is where you're not leaning so heavily on bargains and your pricing is comparable and people know it's going to be a mainstream business. So that might be a Target store if we're looking at an example in stores. Premium, we are now premium. We're not luxury, but we're premium. In other words, people expect to pay premium fees and they expect premium and they get premium experiences. Premium service level of customer service, amenities. When I started, literally, I was, you guys would laugh. Well, many of you did the same thing. When I also had a practice in a gym, I had milk crates with a piece of plywood on top and a sheet, thumbtacked to hide the milk crates. Like that was bargain as you can go. That's not premium. That's not luxury. It worked. Now it's different. You get to choose which one you are. It's so fun because then everything falls into place once you identify which of these four you are. You have to choose. You can change, but choose right now to get started. And let's define your specialty. Too many people are generalists. Generalists are fine, but like they say, there's riches and niches. And I didn't make that up, but it's true. So you can choose a niche. I specialize personally when I work with my active modulation clients in migraine, fibromyalgia, neck and back. That's my thing. That's it. Choose your niche. It's easier for you in your marketing. It's easier for you because you only have to stay abreast of the science of who your niche population is. You don't need to be a whiz at every condition, every symptom, every treatment, everything. So choosing your specialty will allow you to stand out from the crowd, get known as a specialist, the go-to person for that. And you can choose it: hobbies, sports, conditions, symptoms, demographics, psychographics. What do you want to be known for? You could work with just pregnant women and that's it, right? You got a nice long 8 months. If you're doing pre and post, you can keep on going. So choose your specialty. Go ahead and type in the chat if you already have a specialty or if you're leaning towards one. Your services then fall perfectly. So for example, I mentioned Diamond Active Massage. Oh, good. Asa, you do migraines too. Excellent. Diamond Active Massage. So for example, this therapist that I coached with knew it. She was loving active massage because the clients got faster relief. It was easy for her to learn, easy for her to apply. It helped her stand out from the crowd. That is her niche, her niche. For those of you who are listing in the chat, like the techniques that you're using, again, that's fine. That's a good way to decide your niche. However, I'm going to say focus on the outcome because we can do see all of you who are putting down again the modalities. Let's talk about is the client going to get an outcome? What are they coming for? If they have migraines, they want migraine relief. They don't care really if you're doing trigger point or Graston or AMT. They want the outcome. So as far as niching, think about the actual demographics that you're going to be working with. You get to decide, like my sessions now are between 30 and 60 minutes ish. I don't even sell time. I sell the outcome. So based on your clinical approach, what length do you like? Some of you love the longer sessions. You don't have to offer 30 minutes. You get to choose. It's really fun. All right. Now here's the thing where I get so much pushback. Guarantee. Offer a guarantee. What? Yes. Best way to compete, not on fees, is to offer a guarantee, because who else does that? Only people who've worked with me, right? So think about a guarantee. I give you permission to be so confident in your ability to support your clients that you can define an outcome. And for a lot of you, if this is going over your head, don't even worry about it. You can get to it a year from now. But for those of you who know, because of your clinical experience, your expertise, your training, your client feedback, you know that you can deliver solid results in a defined, quantified time frame, offering a guarantee. Now, again, I have offered a guarantee forever, and people in other clinics, we have fertility clinics offering guarantees. We have LASIK eye surgeons doing guarantees. You can. It's legal and it's ethical. I think it's the most ethical thing you can do. But how? Well, here's an example. There's so many ways to define your guarantee, but I promise your pain on the left side of your neck will drop from a 6 out of 10, which you told me it is now, down to a 4 or lower after a single session. You can offer a simple guarantee like that. When you're offering a guarantee and everybody else in your community is not, and if your sessions are $300 and everybody else is whatever, 100, 150, even 300, but if a person gets a guarantee when they work with you, do you think it's going to be an easier? Yes, of course it is. All right, let's talk about fees real fast. And I know we're running out of time. This is what people pay for. Everybody thinks they pay for just your time. Nope. They pay for effectiveness, efficiency. They want the results and an extraordinary experience. So it doesn't have to be, all white and beautiful, but the experience has to be there from the moment they communicate with your office all the way through the follow-up and the ongoing communications. So the 4 E's in everything you do: efficiency, effectiveness, and an extraordinary experience. This is not the old way of setting fees. Stop thinking, how much do you need to make? Like, stop that. Instead, how much do you want to make? And again, ever since I started coaching 30 years ago, the number has not changed. People want to make 100K in a year. They want to make 10K in a month. Great. Okay, that same number 30 years later, but whatever. If that's what you want to make, remember, what you're generating is different than your profit. Profit is what's left after your expenses. And your expenses are your overhead and what's considered COGS, costs of goods and services. So you have your expenses, you have that's your nut that you have to fill. And then you have how much you're bringing in, and you want to have that profit, and that profit can either be paid to you as a salary or invested back in the business. Okay, so get it out of your head of how much do I need to make? That's minimal thinking. I want abundance thinking. So there you have it. We covered a lot. Today's presentation comes right out of my book. If you liked what we were talking about, you can go on Amazon. You can find Design Your Dream Practice. My husband's over there going, he's my biggest fan. Thank you, honey. It's so funny. I have this, if you want to scan this, this is a free class on how to attract affluent, appreciative clients. It's super easy. It's 3 trainings. It's so short, and you're going to watch it and you're going to be like, well, I already know this. Okay, then apply it, because you may know it, but I'm going to gift you this class because I want it to sink in. Affluent people, people who don't nickel and dime you, people who have the money, they're out there, even in your teeny tiny little town that people say, oh, there's nobody has money. People have money if they see the value. If you can help them achieve a goal or relieve a problem, they will pay for it. So scan this, jump into my world. It's been really fun. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I see Shannon's back on. That was a
Hello.
lot.
Yeah, that was amazing. Really engaged chat. I want to say thank you to everyone for being here today. Thank you so much, Irene. We do have a few minutes for a Q&A session. So if you'd like to start by using the chat or the question and answer feature, we would love to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you. You're
Lots
welcome,
of
everybody.
thank yous.
I'm glad that it was landing for you.
Perfect. Brendalyn said purchased already. Thank you. Thank you.
Margaret, I'll come back, and you said 60 minutes plus plus. I always go over session time while working on specific issues. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to throw in some coaching here. If you go over, this is this concept. I'm putting in air quotes. If you go over 60 minutes when working on specific issues, why not have that be the length of the session? So let's say you do end up doing 75 minutes ish. Then now you design and you sell a 75-minute session for specific conditions. So that way you're not giving away your time for free. And also the client understands they're getting a more comprehensive session. There's more care they're getting. There's more outcome that's probably delivered because you're extending that session. So I hope that makes sense.
We did have a question come up from Suzanne. What do you consider a premium service / practice?
Well, in my case, premium is you actually get a person on the telephone. Old fashioned, not everybody likes to talk on the telephone, but when we're dealing with pain, which we are in my practice, when we're dealing with people who've tried everything, just that warm voice on the phone elevates the level of service, and already, and this has been proven, already starts to establish a therapeutic alliance, meaning they're already starting their healing process by being heard, by being scheduled accordingly, so it's an appropriate booking, not just, oh, well, I only have $100, so I guess I'll book the 30-minute session. No, I want you to be the advisor. We didn't even cover this, but as a business owner and a skilled practitioner, our clients come to us for advice. So in a premium practice, we are a fiduciary. We're taking them under our arm and helping them choose the best service to get their outcome. That's a premium level practice. That's one teeny little element of it. Open to the public is, okay, what time did you want? 3 o'clock. Great, let's do it.
Awesome. We had a question. How long of a period of time should I expect to go from having a decent client flow to breaking even?
That's a good question. And that depends on how skilled you are. Again, there's skill level in assessing what a client needs, assessing in their ability, their physical ability. If you're helping somebody with range of motion in their neck, for example, your ability to assess where they're at right now and determine how to get them there will also help you establish a frequency of appointments, right? You're developing a treatment plan for that client. So once you have a treatment plan, you could literally be breaking even within a month when you have a few clients, depending on your expenses and depending on your fees. So there's too many variables that I can't really advise you on, but I always say start smaller. Like you could jump into a huge facility, build it all out, spend a lot of money. You totally could do that. Much more risky. I like starting small and testing. And then once we know we have proof of concept, then we can start going bigger. And again, that's because you have to look at what your level of risk is, right? Some people do a full build out and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that'll take longer to break even than if you're, buying a therapy table and some sheets.
Perfect. We did have a couple more questions.
Go
This
for it.
question, it relates to our previous question about calling. Tom asked, can you set office hours to call them back? Or if it's not right away, did you already lose that client?
Tom, excellent question. So, too many of us don't follow up. Follow up is going to be one of the best things you can ever do. Follow up with phone calls. Follow up after the client has come in, especially a brand new client. Literally, we send an old-fashioned letter in the mail. We print it out on our computer, so it does have their name and everything populated already, but we write a handwritten note. Thank you for coming in. I'm glad James was able to help you feel great. We fold it. We put a stamp on the damn thing and we mail it. Why? Because that's premium level service. That's hand tailored. That's personalization. So I don't ever think you lose a client. I'm going to say follow up with them at least 3 times. If they reached out by phone or text or email, follow up. Hey, I don't want to bug you, but I want to make sure that I'm able to reach you if you in fact still want. Here's the question. If you want to book a service, no, you don't say, hey, you called, did you want to book an appointment? No, it's like, hey, I'm calling you back because you reached out. Would you like to have a conversation to see if or how I might be able to help you? We don't have a crystal ball. Take them through that triangle first, the client selection triangle, once you get them on the phone. So I'll never say you lost a client. You may call them back and they may go, oh, I found another provider. Okay, well, I'm here in case it doesn't work out for you or in case you need any other care. So you're never going to worry about losing clients because there's going to be always an abundance of clients coming in, because there's always an abundance of people who have a goal that you can help them achieve or a problem that you can help them relieve once you identify what those are.
Love it. We have time for just one more question, and then in the post-webinar follow-up email, we will be providing Irene's contact, all of her socials, so you feel free to reach out to her directly with any questions. Our last question is from Annie. How often did you end up increasing your costs since starting your business and realize you need to increase to cover overhead / COGS / self salary, etc.?
Okay, let me clarify. Increasing my costs or increasing my
It says costs.
fees? How often did you end up increasing? I'm going to answer the question because I think I know it. I think I know what you're going for.
Increasing fees, you said.
Yeah, okay. Our fees go up all the time. Now, that's again, I jump into my ethical fee increase program. It's the best program you can do. We run it on the 1st of every month. My fees have jumped. I'm probably the most expensive person in San Francisco. I have a bachelor's degree. I'm a rehab therapist, but I'm not a doctor, and I'm charging doctor fees. And I'll put it out here for now, today's date. If somebody comes to me, my evaluation, my assessment is $800, no insurance, cash based. $800. My typical sessions run from 300 to 600. It's not time based, it's results based. Now, I wasn't always there. I started at, I don't remember, $95 or something once I started at this wellness center. And then it went up, and then it went up, and then it went up. So you have to be able to have your clients walk away and say, oh my gosh, that was so worth it. They may also say, oh my gosh, that's expensive, but it was so worth it. Because what are their alternatives? Live in pain, keep the swelling, not able to turn their neck, like all the stuff that we help them with. So they have a choice to make. They can live with it They can try surgery, they can try other modalities, they can go to other massage therapists. But if you're the one who can really help them because you guarantee it, because you've gone through the selection and you know you can help them, there's no risk to them. That's why I can charge what I charge, because there is no risk. They may waste their time, but they will never waste their money. And to this day, I've never had, no, let me take that back. I've had one person who paid for a program. I think at the time it was like $3,000. I worked with him for 2 sessions. This was a bunch of years ago, for his neck pain, and it was not improving the way I expected it to improve. It just wasn't. And I literally said to him, "You're not responding as I thought you would." And I encouraged him to go see his physician. Well, it turns out he had a tumor on his spinal cord. I gave him his money back, but nobody else have I ever had to refund, because I screened them well enough, and my experience led me to understand what the outcome is that I could promise them. So I'll never say for you to promise 100% change, 100% reduced pain, 100% function. That would be silly, because you don't have a crystal ball. But you can quantify what it is that you guarantee, and your fee should match that. So the person coming in is going to say, yes, it's worth $100. Yes, it's worth $300. Yes, it's worth $600, whatever your fee is. So again, this is where you have to trust yourself, and you have to be confident in your ability. And you're not doing smoke and mirrors. This is not magic. This is you delivering an outcome, because you know they're going to walk out that door and tell somebody, whether it's good or bad, right? So that's how your fees will always go up. It's not about the economy. It's not about it's about the results you provide. And I will stick my stake in the ground and tell you to focus on the outcome. Don't look around and wonder what other people are charging, because it really doesn't matter. Sorry, I go off on these tangents because I'm so passionate about it, because too many of you are undercharging. And some of you are overcharging, and the client walks away and goes, well, that wasn't really worth it. And they never come back. So get your skills up there, get your assessment up there, create a better experience for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Irene, and thank you so much to our audience for attending today. Again, we will be following up with the post-webinar email that will include the full recording and all of Irene's links as well.
Thank you, everybody. It was fun. I hope to see you in my additional programs.
Everyone.